This is Jake Bazicki, and this is an ACT Science Research Summary question. So in this question, we're being asked to look at inconsistencies within the results of this experiment. And this is one of those questions where it does help if you have an understanding of what's going on in each of these two experiments. So reading the experiments and really understanding what they're doing and what they're testing for. But whenever especially when we're going across two different experiments, whenever there are questions that ask you to go across those, whether it's experiment 1, experiment 2 to experiment 3, or any of those, really, this is really important to go question by question, reading all the details in each answer choice, making sure that one of them, the answers are right, completely right. Because if part of the answer is wrong, it's probably going to be right somewhere else with the whole answer right, and that's probably a wrong answer. So just be really careful when you're going through each of the answer choices in a question like this. This question is asking for an inconsistency, assuming that the experiment 2, the test tubes were kept at 25 degrees Celsius. So that's actually very important, because if we look at experiment 1, we'll see that there's the solution of the temperature solution when they added potato juice was at 25 degrees Celsius. And so we're assuming now that all of these solutions were added to a pyrocatechol solution of 25 degrees Celsius. That's what this is saying. So assuming that these are all 25 degrees Celsius, which of the following observations seems to suggest an inconsistency between the results of experiment 1, so between experiment 1 and experiment 2? All right, so that's what we're looking for. And we're going to go answer choice by answer choice to see which one's the right answer. So the first answer choice. In experiment 2, when 3 drops of potato juice and 0 drops of phenolthirea are added to the pyrocatechol solution, the resulting solution is colorless. So when we look here, we see that 3 drops of the potato juice are added here, and 0 drops of the phenolthirea are added here. So this is what they're talking about on the table here. The solution is colorless. We would expect the same result from the experiment held at 25 degrees Celsius. This should be a Celsius mark in experiment 1. So looking at experiment 1 at 25 degrees Celsius, we see that the color after 5 minutes is yellow, and that the color after 30 minutes is bright yellow. And what they're suggesting is they're asking that since we're not adding any phenolthirea and we're only adding 3 drops of potato juice here, which is the same thing we added here, to solutions that, if they're 25 degrees Celsius, are similar or identical, that we should get the same result, because we have the same solution of pyrocatechol at 25 degrees Celsius, and we're adding the same thing, 3 drops of potato juice, no phenolthirea. We should be getting the same color. And that makes sense. So because we're not getting the same color in these two experiments, it seems that there's something off. So we're going to hold on to that answer as a possibility. Then we're going to go to the second choice. In experiment 1, after 30 minutes, 3 drops of potato juice resulted in bright color in the solution. So here we're back to the bright yellow color in the solution experiment 1. We should expect the same results from every test tube where 3 drops of potato juice were added in experiment 2. So this question, here, let me just change my color here. Make it green. So this question is saying that everywhere that we see 3 drops of potato juice, so here, but also here, and actually in both of these, we should expect to see a bright yellow color in all of these results, because we saw it here after 30 minutes. So we should see it here, 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 and here, because we saw it in 30 minutes. But we know that actually is not correct, because in this experiment 1 we only have potato juice, but in experiment 2 we actually have the addition of phenolthirea, and we see that the addition of phenolthirea changes the results of the color in the test tubes. We see that because even if we keep the potato juice the same, as we change the number of drops of phenolthirea, it affects the color. And we see that 3 drops, we also see it at 5 drops, where even though we have 2 right here that have 5 drops of potato juice, when we have 1 drop of phenolthirea versus none, we get faint color versus no color. So we know that phenolthirea also plays a role, and so we should not be able to assume that just because there's also 3 drops of potato juice that these are all going to be the same. This one from answer choice A only works because we don't have any phenolthirea interacting with the pyrocatechol, so it's essentially the same experiment as over here in experiment 1. So this is canceled out. Both A and B seem to suggest an inconsistency. So A does, but B does not, as we just decided, so that's eliminated. And neither A or B. So B doesn't, but A does, as we see here. So this is canceled. So the right answer is going to be A.